I'm responsible for making sure we go gather the news. I work with the day side, my counterparts from the day side. There's basically three shifts. There's a day side, a night side, and an overnight shift. So I'm responsible for the night side shift. So I work with the producer. We have an 11 o'clock producer who's our primary producer. We also work with the executive producer. And then I have crews that go out in the field to cover the news. I have usually on average, three crews that work for me at night. And my job is to get them news to go cover it. So if there's a car crash happening on the interstate or a homicide, it's my job to make sure I get them out the door with the proper information that they need. The day side, my counterparts from the day side, there's basically three shifts. There's a day side, a night side, and an overnight shift. So I'm responsible for the night side shift. So I work with the producer. We have an 11 o'clock producer who's our primary producer. We also work with the executive producer. And then I have crews that go out in the field to cover the news. I have usually on average, three crews that work for me at night. And my job is to get them news to go cover it. So if there's a car crash happening on the interstate or a homicide, it's my job to make sure I get them out the door with the proper information that they need. You always want to have a character because that's what brings it to life on that aspect. There's two sides to every story. People say, "Oh, it's only one side." No, there's always two sides. So you have to make sure we get those two sides on every time. Like I think character is the biggest thing out there on that. When we're looking for a story, whether it's a human interest story or it's even a crime story, we want to look for when it's a crime story. We want to put a victim's face to it if the victim is willing to talk to us about that. We just don't want to put a mugshot and flashing lights. We want to say why this happened. If it's a victim of a homicide, we want to talk to that family and understand about their loved one and why they may have died or what may have triggered things to happen. And unfortunately, recently in the past several years, Louisville has had a real heavy crime aspect of it. We've had a lot of homicides, and that's been in a number of different things. There's a lot of guns on the street. There is a lot of drugs on the street. There is a lot of, unfortunately, heroin and different things, which is part of the drug epidemic. But there's a lot of stuff out there right now that is just causing an uptick in violence. Whether it's that aspect or somebody's breaking into somebody's house, we've seen a lot more, and that has caused us to shift a lot of our focus to crime. And we really don't like to do a lot of crime because people, they turn it off. People don't want to hear about crime all the time. They want to know what's going on with their favorite basketball team. They want to know what's going on with the weather. Weather's is always a big deal. They want to know what's happening with their kids at their school. If there is a major shooting, say like instance a couple weeks ago, we had a big incident out at Kroger in Jeffersontown. A gentleman walked in, opened fire. There were shots fired and things like that. That becomes the big story of the day. Obviously, it's in a public place. It's a danger to the community. We don't know what the aspects are, what is, the mindset. Are there other people that could be involved? It's that we have to treat it at the worst case scenario. So that's going to be the big story on that. A lot of times you're not going to see a lot of crime leading us newscasts. We hope on Thanksgiving that we never, that's coming up, we don't have to have a bad story. We want to give thanks for being alive and being in our community. But unfortunately, a couple years ago, we had a mass shooting incident at the Toy Bowl in Shawnee Park, and that became the news. It became national news that day, when people should be really enjoying about what they're going to eat, turkey, and get ready to go shopping.